Hi traders, welcome to my video on the free MACD and price action EA that I've developed for the MT4 trading platform. You can download the EA using the link in the description below. It's completely free to use. In this video, I'm just going to run through the EA and the various settings and ways in which you can customize the EA to use it according to your own trading strategy. Okay, so here I have the MT4 trading platform. I've just done a rough test, as you can see there, with the EA. Okay, so if we go to the strategy tester window here, you can see I have the EA selected, MACD and price action EA there. For the symbol, chosen the euro dollar. You can use this EA on any trading instrument, so Forex, stocks, cryptos, commodities, indices, etc. For the testing model, when we're running a backtest or optimization with this EA, we can use open prices only. It's a lot faster this way. I did code the EA to do the calculations for the MACD and the price action patterns using open prices. However, you will want to switch to every tick testing just to fine tune the settings once you've come across a good combination of settings. That's because every tick accounts for intra-bar prices, which is important for things when it comes to stop loss, take profit, trading stop, break even, so on and so forth. It's just more accurate, albeit slower. Use date, just selected the last six months or so there for testing purposes. Okay, for the period, I've chosen the 1 hour chart time frame. You can use this EA on any chart time frame that you wish. I personally prefer the 1 hour charts and above simply because they contain more price action. Therefore, I find signals tend to be a lot more reliable. Okay, I'd rather catch a big move on a longer term chart time frame than take multiple positions on a shorter term time frame. But each trade is different, so you can do what works for you. The spread, I've just selected the current market spread here. Keep in mind, if you are testing on the weekend, the spread will likely be higher than usual, so you might want to manually enter the spread in there instead. Okay, so we just go to the expert properties here. I'm just going to run through the various different settings which you can customize according to your own preferences. So we have here the expert name. This is the name that will be displayed in the comments window of your trades. Can be adjusted accordingly. Pop-up alerts. If you set these pop-up alerts to true, what will happen is when there's a signal, you get a pop-up on the platform which will say, for example, buy signal, euro dollar 1 hour chart, or sell signal, pound dollar 4 hour chart. Just depends what charts you're running the EA on. This is handy if you want to simultaneously track multiple charts and chart time frames. So for example, you can be tracking 20 different instruments at the same time. And then you can get signals when there are trades without needing to manually scour through each chart, and you can just switch to the relevant chart. Okay, this is good for semi-automated trading. Okay, perhaps you're waiting for a particular price action pattern or a MACD crossover of the signal line or the zero line, and you can just receive an alert when that happens. Okay, email alerts and SMS alerts. When these are set to true, you will get an alert this time via email or SMS. There are instructions included which tell you how these can be configured. Okay, this is handy. For example, let's just say you're sat on the sofa or you're out and about, traveling perhaps, and you receive an SMS or email alert that there's been a signal on a particular instrument and chart time frame. You can just then fire up the MT4 platform wherever you are and check if you want to take the position or not. Use trading. When this is set to true, the EA will not just alert you, but can also place and manage the trade on your behalf. If you're not going to be around to place the trade and you want the EA to do it, you can always hop back in later and manage it when you have a chance to. You can have alerts off and just have the EA to do the trading, or you can have alerts on so you can be alerted when there's been a trade placed, and then just open up your platform when you do get an alert and just make sure it is a trade that you do want to take. Okay, days filter is self-explanatory. This is the days of week that the EA can trade. Hours filter, again, self-explanatory. These are the hours of the day you want the EA to trade. Perhaps you just focus on trading when there's high volatility on the euro dollar, and you might just want to trade when the New York and London sessions overlap, for example, or perhaps you're using a scalping strategy and you want to trade during the Asian session when the market's perhaps more quieter and less volatile than usual. I leave these hours 24 hours a day simply because I'm looking to capture big trends, and therefore I'm not really too fussed about the more intraday timing. Okay, if there's a big trade to enter in on a big trend, I'm going to take it regardless of the time of day. I'm more concerned with the price action and of course money management, which we'll get to later. Magic number, so this is the order ID that is sent along with the trade. Set to 1 for a buy and 2 for a sell by default. This is handy in case you're running multiple expert advisors on the same platform. You don't want them to clash with each other. Broker settings, so you've got maximum spread and maximum slippage. If the spread or slippage is greater than these values in pips, then the EA will not send an alert or place a trade. This is to help you avoid unfavorable market conditions. Open orders limit. It's the maximum number of open buy and or sell trades that the EA can have at any time, set to 1 by default. This is just so that you don't end up with loads of duplicate trades in the same direction. Lots, this is the position size now, and this is the lot size that we use for your orders. Keep in mind the EA will only use this lot size if you have user risk set to false. On the other hand, if you have user risk here set to true, the EA will use the risk percent value to calculate the lot size for you automatically, depending on what you set here in the risk percent field. So for example, when it's set to 2, that will calculate the lot size. So the full stop loss would be the equivalent to 2% of the account free equity. Stop loss and take profit, self-explanatory. Personally, I'm not a fan of using fixed stop loss and take profit levels. Reason being is because it depends really on what the market's doing. Let's just have a look at an example. If we see here, we can see this level of support there, resistance here, triple top formation. Just zoom in a bit on this for you. Okay, so we see how this channel formed here. In fact, you've got this level of support there as well. Strong support. Tested, 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 tested until we got to around this area where you see these lower highs, wedge formation, triple top pattern here. I do have videos on various chart patterns as well you can check out and build strategies that way. But we're looking for here, so we get the breakout there and then the breakout there. And this is a strong sell signal. As you can see, the EA did take it. MACD crossover of the 0 line as well. We also have a 3 inside down candlestick formation here. In fact, 2 of those up here as we've got the lower highs as well. So lots of bearish signals for taking this trade. So the point I'm trying to make about the stop loss and the take profit is if we use a fixed stop loss, let's just say we take this breakout trade here. If we have a fixed 50 pip stop loss, it's up here somewhere, yeah? Which for me, I would have put the stop loss just above the recent high here. So it could have been a lot tighter, around 20 pips. And then some may argue, well, why don't you just set the EA to the 20 pip stop loss? Well, because there will be instances where you may need the stop loss 40 pips, 50 pips. It just depends on the market. It's variable. That's why I don't like to use a set value every time. I tend to use a recent high or for a sell trade or a recent low for a buy trade, which is going to be different. Okay, you can of course have the EA if it's trading for you to use just a wide stop to start with and then have an alert and adjust the stop loss accordingly. Okay, and when we look at take profit, again, let's just say you had a 50 pip stop loss and 100 pip take profit. So price falls here, 100 pips, you exit the trade, you know, you're happy, it looks like a great trade, but the reality is if we zoom out, you've left way too much on the table. This move goes over 350 pips. So this would have been a premature exit here. For 100 pips, of course you can re-enter, but every time you re-enter, you're just increasing your chances of being wrong on the trade, paying your broker spreads, commissions, and also taking more time. I much prefer to get into one big move like this and just ride it to the end. So for me, I wouldn't actually use a take profit, believe it or not. I would instead use a trailing stop. My break even, which the EA does have. I'll show you in a minute. So after taking this breakout trade and putting the stop loss above the recent high, what I would do is once price falls to here, I'd move the stop loss to break even, just lock in the trade. Don't want a winning trade to turn into a losing one if price does turn around. And then as price continues to fall, I would just move the stop loss above the recent high, above the recent high, above the recent high, above the high, above the high. And we can just trail the highs all the way down until price does eventually turn around and take out our trailing stop, probably around here somewhere, if not slightly earlier. But once we start seeing these higher lows as well, the MACD cross of the signal line to the upside there, certainly the zero line around here, we would know that it's time to perhaps exit the trade. You can, of course, use whichever money management strategy is best for you. So going back to the expert properties, we go to the stop loss here. So you can set it, 20 pips, 50 pips, whatever you want to use. And for the take profit, you can set it to 0, 50, 100, whatever rocks your boat, really. Close opposite signal if set to true when there's a opposite signal, whether that's a MACD crossover or candlestick pattern, the EA can exit the trade. Okay, so this is the break-even and trailing stop. If you have used break-even set to true, the EA will move the stop loss to break-even point once this point, break-even point, is reached in pips. Okay, so we set to 50. When the trade moves 50 pips in your favor, the break-even will be moved. The stop loss will be moved to break-even. You can also have use trail set to true. If you have this set to true, the EA will keep moving the stop loss based on this trailing gap distance that you have set here. Okay. Close percent. This is if you want to close a part of the order once the break-even point and trailing gaps are reached. This is handy just to bank some profit. Okay, so if we just look back at our example here, you could, after 100 pips, which would be around here, close 25% of the position, bank some of that profit, and just let the remaining 75% run. Another 100 pips, you close 25% here, another 50% to run, and so on and so forth. So that's the close percent. The minimum lot close is basically the EA will stop closing the position when you only have this much lots left remaining. So let's just say you've got user set to false and you're trading one standard lot. You want to close 25% every 50 pips. When you only have 0.5 lots left, the EA will not close any more of the order and just let the remainder of the position run. Okay, so now this is the nitty-gritty of the EA, which is the actual criteria for sending you trading signals and placing trades. So we have the MACD, very popular indicator. The aspects that we're using of the MACD are the zero line and the trend. You also have the MACD settings, fast MACD, slow MACD, and SMA MACD there. So here's the MACD on the chart. I'll just explain to you basically what the elements of the EA do. So you've got the MACD cross zero line. That's when these histogram bars cross below for a sell or above for a buy signal. Okay. And then you've got the MACD crossing this signal line, this red line here. When it crosses above the signal line, that can also be a buy signal. When it crosses below the signal line, that can also be a sell signal. So you might want to enter, for example, sell signals when the MACD crosses below the signal line if it is above the zero line, or if you have the zero line also set to true, you can have a sell signal only when it's below the signal line and below the zero line. So basically you can use either or both for the MACD zero line and the MACD trend. Just to reiterate, the MACD trend is when the histogram is either above the red line for a buy or below the red line, the signal line for a sell. So you can use one or the other or both, as I said. Okay, candlestick patterns. So here we have various candlestick patterns which you can set to true or false. And this basically means that there has to be this particular candlestick pattern to trigger an entry. Okay, so you've got engulfing bar, harami bar, hanging man or inverted hammer, shooting star or hammer, spinning top, 3 inside up, 3 inside down, evening star, morning star, falling or rising 3, 3 crows, 3 soldiers pattern, and the 3 outside up as well. I do have videos and articles of all of these strategies, these candlestick patterns and strategies that you can implement them within. I'm not going to go through them all in this video, but feel free to experiment and see which works best for you. And talking of experimenting, now we've just ran through the EA and the various settings. I'm just going to do a quick optimization, show you how you can optimize the EA in the MT4 strategy tester, bearing in mind that there are some limitations. So what optimization does is it basically can combine various settings and show you what the results would have been historically speaking based on historical data. Okay, of course, that's no guarantee of what will happen moving forward, but it can give you a rough idea of what to expect. So if we just reset those settings, so we're going to set use trading to true because we want it to trade. We're running a test, a back test. We'll trade all days, all hours. We'll use one standard lot. So to optimize the setting, you click the box there next to the setting, okay, the checkbox, and you can just put, let's say stop loss will do 25 pips. We'll go in 25 pip increments and we'll stop at 50. So this would optimize a stop loss of 25 and 50. We start at 25, we've gone up in a step at 25 and stopped at 50. For the take profit, as I said, I would prefer to have that on 0, but for the purpose of optimization, we can have a stop take profit of 0, go up in 100 increments and stop at 300. So this would optimize a take profit of 0, 100, 200, and 300. Again, because we're starting at 0, we're going up to 300 and we're going in 100 increments. Okay, close opposite signal, set this to true or false. This will basically close the trade, as I said, if there is an opposite signal in the opposite direction. For the break even, we'll set break even to true or false. The break even point, let's optimize 25 to 50. Trailing stop true or false, and we'll optimize the trailing gap 25 to 50. Close percent, let's say close 0%, 25%, that's 75%. And for the minimum lot to close, we are trading one standard lot. Let's just say 0 minimum, 0.25 or 1.25, at which point the EA will not close any of the position. Okay, and for the indicator aspects, let's go true or false for the 0 line MACD, true or false for the trend line MACD. For the fast MACD, let's optimize 12 up to 72, 26 up to 156, and 9 up to 54. So we can optimize all the MACD settings there as well. And we'll put true or false for all of the candlestick patterns. So basically, optimization will combine all these different settings that we've selected and give us the results. Under this optimization tab here, you can choose to filter the results by these parameters. For example, if you check maximal drawdown, you'll get the results that only meet if you put this to 20. So the strategy test will only show you the results with a maximum drawdown of 20. However, I leave these all unchecked because I want to see all results, just so I can get an idea of what works and what doesn't. If we go to testing, you can choose if you want to trade long or you want to trade short. This is handy, for example, if you're getting signals, you know the market is in an upwards trend and you only want buy signals because you're only going to trade with the trend. You can set it to long only, for example, or vice versa. If it's in a bearish trend and you only want sell signals, you can set it to short only. So long and short for this testing. Genetic algorithm, this setting here, if you leave it checked, the strategy tester will discard results if it thinks it will give unfavorable results, for want of a more complicated explanation. However, if you uncheck it, it will do every possible combination, which can take a lot longer depending on the power speed of your computer. I always leave that checked, to be honest with you. I think that the strategy tester does a good job of, it's a good balance between speed and results that way. So click OK. Again, you can choose your instrument, the dates you want to test, and your time frame. Then we just check optimization, click start. Now what happens is the strategy tester, if we go to the optimization results, we'll do all the different combinations. You can see here stop loss of 25 or 50, take profit of 0, of 100, break even, all the different values that we selected. Okay, and basically combine them and show you the results And then you can sort the results by profit, by number of trades, by the profit factor, expected payoff, drawdown, or in monetary or percentage value. Just sort the results by profit. Okay. You can obviously sort them by what matters most to you, but for example, this is, you know, good, decent performance, high profit factor, reasonably low drawdown on that. You can see we actually have quite a few good results coming in here. Very good indeed. And then if you double click any of the results, what that will do is that will load those settings into the properties here. And you can just click save if you want to save them. Perhaps you might call it your $1 1 hour set, and you can just load them later date, perhaps when you attach the EA to a chart on your platform, or you want to run another back test with the same settings. Yeah, so we'll just run an individual test now with those settings. And there's the graph. Okay, let's try the same with this one. Double click it, run it, and there's the graph for that. Okay, so that's basically how you do an optimization, right? However, the issue with optimizing is you're not necessarily getting good settings. And why that is because we're doing what's called over optimization or curve fitting. We're basically doing a random combination of all settings of a particular data set and seeing if we can get good results. The problem with that is you're only doing it for the historical data that you're using. It's not necessarily a good trading strategy. You know, we've just done a complete random combination of all the settings. It's not like we did earlier where we marked our support, our resistance, you know, our trend lines. We sort of knew, okay, we're in a downtrend, we're taking the breakout. The MACD has crossed the zero line, fair enough, but the EA didn't take into account all these other factors, okay? Things that do require some form of human element. Okay, and just to reiterate that fact, if we go back another year and run those exact same settings, let's see what happens. Not so good, right? And why is that? Because we only optimized for a particular data set, which probably started around here somewhere, almost to the day. That's where we started our optimization. I think it was to the day there, and that's because that's when the graph starts going up. Okay, but all of this before we haven't optimized for. So we've just over optimized or curve fit for that particular data. And then some may argue, well, why don't you just optimize again? The thing about this is you can keep going back and back, and you can optimize for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. At the end of the day, you're just curve fitting or over optimizing to find good settings for the particular data set that you're using. Okay, it may not be good settings for other instruments, other time frames. There might not be a logical strategy behind it. Don't get me wrong, you can actually run into an instance where you stumble across some really good settings and a strategy that you may not have otherwise without backtesting, so it does have some uses, but personally I feel that you need to verify the settings and the entry and exit yourself. Okay, there are EA providers out there who do provide EAs that use the same settings across multiple instruments. With years of verified results, which, you know, I would tend to trust more than a developer who's just done random over optimizations and shown fantastic back tests. Okay, so if we look at this optimization that we did for the extra year, again, we'll sort results. Okay, we've got a decent set file there. We double click it, we'll run that individual test, and it looks great. Let's package it up and sell it, shall we? No. And why no? Because what we've done is we've just optimized for that particular data set the last 2 or so years. If we go back another 2 years and run those exact same settings, what happens? That happens. And we know where optimization started, probably around here. And I think it was that month, wasn't it? There or thereabouts is when it started going up, because that's what we optimized for. We didn't optimize for this before. We can keep going back and optimizing curve fitting, but it's not necessarily going to show us the best way to use the EA. For me personally, the best way to use this would be to, okay, so we want the MACD to be, let me just reset the MACD to original settings. Okay, I'm going to draw my support, I'm going to draw my resistance as we did earlier. I'm going to wait for breakout, and once I know we're in a downtrend, if we didn't enter here initially, you know, we can enter on a pullback. So for example, I might want to get an alert when the MACD crosses the signal line as it does here, or even here to be fair, because we had this breakout, the MACD went above the signal line, then we had an alert when it crossed back below here. We could have fired up our chart and seen, okay, we're on a breakout, we've got good downwards momentum, we've got the lower highs, we've got 3 inside down candlestick pattern, we've got an engulfing bar. All of the signs there are for strong downwards momentum. So we could have took the trade based on that, having an alert from the EA of the MACD or a candlestick formation to confirm the entry. Okay, and if you missed that, then we have another one here, signal crossover, this MACD crossing the signal line here, which coincides nicely with this level of support, the support, which actually becomes strong resistance then thereafter. If you didn't trade that crossover there of that MACD, you could have just been watching. See, this resistance is built up here, price is stuck in this channel. As it breaks this support holds up a strong resistance. Of course, we have this breakout there as well, along with lower highs. So there's lots of bullish signals. If you just want to put a bit of effort into doing some manual analysis, just for some basic support, resistance, and trend lines, that's really all you need. And the knowledge of candlestick patterns, you can time your entry. And just perhaps use an indicator such as the MACD just to alert you when there are pullbacks. You might want to be alerted for a pullback, a buy pullback. Say here, a buy signal when it crosses above, because you know the overall trend is down, right? So you might want an alert when the MACD crosses above either the zero line or the signal line, because you're thinking, well, that's a pullback. I'm still going to take a sell, but I just want to know when the MACD is pulled back enough for me to look to time my entry into this trend. Okay, so for example here, you could have got a long alert, but you don't take the long trade because your overall picture is the market's down. So you could have said, okay, I've got my alert, I'm going to draw my support, and then you could have traded a breakout of that support level, which actually, again, holds up nicely as resistance here. If that wasn't enough, you've also got your lower highs as well. I've got loads of videos on analysis such as this. I'm just basically trying to reiterate, if you don't just rely on an EA to take all your trades, but put a bit of effort to sort of semi-automate the trade, and the EA can make your life a lot easier. So you don't have to scan manually for these opportunities across multiple charts, but you can be alerted to them. And then when there is an alert, you can just use it to time your entry into a trend, obviously without, perhaps if you have this pullback alert here, you might look at the overall picture and say, well, if I sell here, I might be selling at the low. Okay, so ideally you want to get in at the start or as early as possible. Okay, so that in a nutshell is how you can use this EA to help you with your trading. As I said, there is a link in the description below, so you can download it completely free of charge. I do also have many other EAs that you can help yourself to for the MT4 trading platform. I've also got one that combines the majority of the indicators in the platform, which can all be set to true or false. So your moving averages, your ADX, your RSI, your SAR, CCI, MACDs in there, Bollinger Bands, envelopes, so on and so forth. Also has candlestick patterns, all the money management features, days, hours, broker, filters, so on and so forth. So yeah, again, I'll just reiterate with optimization, just go careful. You can run across some good settings, but more often than not, it's just going to be curve fitted or over optimized for the data that you're using. As I said, you can use this EA on any trading instrument, any chart time frame. So we can switch to like a 4-hour chart, run an optimization on that. Well, we ran it for the last 4 or so years. See some decent results coming through. I mean, to be fair, 500 trades, decent profit factor. Generally speaking, the more trades there are, the better the data could be considered, but still, in my opinion, it's always going to be over optimized. But it can be a good way just to get a rough idea of some particular settings. often you find that there's a setting that is always the same and it always appears in good results, which does make you think, okay, perhaps that's not just fluke, that is actually a setting worth having. For example, if using a break even is always on true, it might tell you that a break even could be a good idea for this particular strategy. So let's just sort those final results by profit. Remember, this is a 4-hour back test, around 4 years on the euro dollar. But double click the top performer, click start to run that individual test. Okay, it's not the best, it's not the worst, but again, we've obviously over optimized, because if we run those same settings back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, further 5 years, okay, this is the initial 5 years. We've added another 5 years. Let's see what happens. That's what happens. It actually crashed and burned. And why is that? Because we over optimized for the data set that we were using in the initial optimization. Okay, hopefully you found something useful in this video. Thank you for watching. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be great and really help my channel. Catch you on the next one.